Something inside me and I'm sharing it. I'm just cruising for clarity with a therapist. Hey, let me roll down the window. Hosted by Francisco Castillo. Hey, yeah, you deserve to be heard. Explore what you feel, no stress or concern. Hey, something inside me and I'm sharing it. I'm just cruising for clarity with a therapist. Let's go.
Hey there. Welcome back to Cruising for Clarity with a Therapist. I'm your host, Francisco Castillo, licensed marriage and family therapist, and your co-pilot on this enlightening journey toward better relationships and enhanced emotional well-being. We're here to talk about the stuff that really matters when it comes to connecting with others and finding peace within ourselves. Today, we're diving into a topic that many people struggle with, but don't always recognize immediately: toxic relationships. It's something I encounter often in therapy sessions. Picture this: someone comes in utterly exhausted, both mentally and emotionally. They sit down on the couch across from me with a heavy sigh and admit, "I don't know what's wrong, but I just don't feel like myself anymore." More often than not, as we peel back the layers of their experiences together, we discover they're entangled in a relationship slowly chipping away at their self-worth without them even realizing it. Here's where things get tricky. Toxic relationships don't always start off toxic. In fact, many begin as seemingly perfect fairy tales filled with love, passion, and genuine connection. It's these initial sparks that make such relationships incredibly hard to leave later on. You find yourself clinging to those cherished memories of happier times from the past, hoping against hope that things will revert back to how they once were. But here's the hard truth. If you find yourself constantly questioning your worth or walking on eggshells around someone who should be uplifting you instead of draining you emotionally, it's time for some serious introspection. It's crucial to step back and ask yourself some hard questions about where this relationship is headed. Today, we'll dive deep into understanding what exactly makes a relationship toxic in the first place. We'll highlight key red flags so you can spot them before getting too deep into harmful dynamics. And most importantly, we'll explore strategies for breaking free from these cycles while focusing on healing afterward. So let's settle in for an honest conversation about identifying toxicity before it takes its toll. So let's dive into what exactly makes a relationship toxic. We all know that no relationship is perfect. Everyone experiences moments of tension. You get annoyed, tempers flare, and sometimes you say things in the heat of the moment that you don't really mean. That's just part of being human and dealing with emotions. But here's the thing: when negativity becomes the norm rather than the exception, it's a red flag. When every interaction starts to feel like a skirmish rather than a comforting embrace, that's when you're treading into toxic territory. Think about it like taking care of a plant in your living room or garden. A healthy relationship is like diligently watering that plant, making sure it gets enough sunlight and nutrients to grow strong and vibrant. You watch it flourish under your care. In contrast, imagine if every day you added just a drop of poison to its soil, a tiny bit at first so subtle that it seems harmless, or even goes unnoticed for weeks or months. Initially, the plant looks fine. Maybe there's no visible change because it's still being watered and cared for otherwise. But eventually, despite your continued efforts to nurture it with love and attention, the poison takes its toll, weakening leaves here and there until they start wilting. The tricky part? Toxic relationships often don't announce themselves up front with flashing neon signs saying, "Danger." Many begin wrapped up in excitement and fervor, filled with passion that can make them feel incredibly thrilling at first glance. It's this intoxicating mix that can make them seem so compelling or addictive initially, like an exhilarating ride on an emotional roller coaster where every high feels worth chasing. Yet over time, and often subtly, the dynamics shift without warning, bells ringing loudly enough to notice immediately. Caring gestures morph into controlling behaviors. Passionate displays turn possessive. Small concerns evolve into frequent criticisms or belittling comments disguised as jokes. If any part of this resonates with you, if you're sitting there wondering whether these patterns sound familiar, then let's explore some key warning signs together so you can better gauge where things stand in your own relationship journey and decide what steps might be right for you moving forward. All right, Let's break this down in a simple and relatable way. What are the biggest red flags that signal when a relationship has soured and turned toxic? First off, tune into your feelings when you're with this person. Do you feel safe, truly seen for who you are, and supported in your endeavors? Or do you find yourself feeling anxious, battling insecurity, or filtering your words just to avoid sparking a disagreement? That's a massive clue right there. Your emotional comfort is essential, and if it's missing, something's not right. Next up, constant criticism and contempt. If someone is perpetually making you feel inadequate, whether it's through biting sarcasm, exaggerated eye rolls that seem to say, "not again," or outright belittling comments, that's not tough love, that's emotional harm. A healthy relationship should lift you up and make you feel appreciated, rather than constantly tearing at your self-esteem. Now let's chat about jealousy and control issues. Sure, a bit of jealousy now and then can be normal. It shows that someone cares. But if they're incessantly checking your phone like it holds the answers to life itself, or grilling you about every little detail of where you've been or who you've hung out with, that's veering away from love territory into control central. And don't forget the dreaded eggshell situation. If you've ever been caught in a toxic relationship web, you'll know this one all too well. You start second guessing everything, your actions, words, even thoughts. You might catch yourself holding back certain opinions or avoiding topics altogether because you're unsure of how they'll react. It's beyond exhausting. It drains your energy as you're busy managing their emotions instead of protecting your peace. Lastly, and I have to touch on this because it's super sneaky, is gaslighting. Ever found yourself apologizing even though they hurt you? Or has the story been twisted so much that you're left questioning whether it was even okay to be upset in the first place? That's gaslighting, a particularly dangerous form of emotional manipulation that messes with your reality perception. If any of these situations ring true for you now or have before, take a deep breath, because recognizing these signs is an empowering step toward reclaiming control over your life. You're definitely not alone on this journey. Awareness is key in taking back what's yours: peace and happiness. So now the big question, how do you get out of a toxic relationship? And let's be honest, leaving is hard. It's not always as simple as just walking away, especially when you're tangled in deep emotional ties, shared history, or even financial dependence that makes disentangling feel like peeling apart glued pages. But even though it's tough, taking that first step is crucial. Recognizing the reality of the situation. No more sugarcoating things or making excuses for behavior that's hurting you. If a relationship is making you feel drained, disrespected, or unsafe, it's time to acknowledge that head on. The next step, setting boundaries. Now let's be real. If you're in a truly toxic relationship, setting boundaries is going to piss the other person off. They're used to getting their way and manipulating situations to suit them. But your job isn't to make them comfortable, it's to protect yourself and your mental well-being. And here's a really important part: get support. Toxic relationships thrive in isolation because they feed off secrecy and the lack of outside perspective. So reach out to someone you trust, a friend who can offer insight from a distance, or perhaps a family member who has known you through thick and thin. Or consider seeking professional help from a therapist who can guide you through this challenging time with understanding and expertise. If the relationship is abusive or feels unsafe in any way, please know there are resources out there specifically designed to help people like you navigate these dangerous waters safely. Which brings me to the next part of this episode. Where exactly can you go for support? This is where I really want to emphasize something. You don't have to navigate this alone at all. There are resources available that can help at every stage of this journey. Whether you're ready to leave immediately or just need someone empathetic and knowledgeable enough to talk things through with. If you're in a situation that feels unsafe right now, remember that the National Domestic Violence Hotline offers assistance 24/7. They also provide an online chat feature on their website if calling isn't an option for any reason. For emotional support tailored specifically around relationship trauma issues, Psychology Today offers connections with therapists who understand what you're going through and can provide guidance tailored specifically for situations like yours. the kind where healing seems insurmountable but isn't impossible with the right support system by your side. And speaking of therapy, this is where therapy can truly be a game changer. A lot of people might think, well, I don't need therapy, I just need to get out. And while yes, leaving a toxic situation is indeed a massive and brave first step, the reality is that toxic relationships often leave behind deep emotional scars that are not easily visible, but can significantly affect your well-being. Therapy plays a crucial role in helping you rebuild your self-worth from the ground up. It guides you through the process of unlearning those unhealthy patterns that have been ingrained in you and provides clarity on what healthy love genuinely looks like. For those who have found themselves repeatedly caught in multiple toxic relationships, therapy offers an invaluable opportunity to break those recurring cycles. It's not about pointing out failures, but about understanding why these patterns keep happening so you can stop attracting the same harmful dynamics over and over again. Let's pause for a moment to acknowledge something important here. Deciding to go into therapy is an act of courage. Many people feel hesitant or unsure about it because they think they should be able to handle everything on their own or feel like their problems aren't significant enough for professional help. But here's something crucial to understand. Therapy isn't about labeling oneself as broken or weak. It's actually quite the opposite. It's about reclaiming your power and taking control over your life. If you've been in a toxic relationship, chances are high that you've internalized negative beliefs, self-doubt, unwarranted guilt, or repetitive patterns manifesting in new relationships without even realizing it. Therapy helps you unpack all these hidden burdens. It assists in identifying where boundaries were crossed, where you began diminishing yourself just to make someone else feel more comfortable, and most importantly, how you can start rebuilding your self-worth with strength and resilience. Because here's what I've seen time after time. People bravely leave toxic relationships behind them physically, but often find that emotional damage lingers on like an unwelcome shadow. Maybe now you find yourself second-guessing every decision made or doubting personal judgment entirely. Maybe similar troubling dynamics keep resurfacing because deep down inside, some part was convinced this distorted version of love was normal. Therapy empowers individuals by breaking such destructive cycles through guided processing sessions, allowing them space needed for healing while redefining what healthy love truly embodies beyond romantic connections. It becomes a more personal journey towards rediscovering yourself again too. Remember who you once were before anyone convinced you that you were too much or not enough. If you're still undecided about seeking therapeutic assistance, let me assure you, you absolutely deserve kind, loving, healing embraces rather than hurtful ones. Start by cultivating genuine appreciation and care for yourself again. If there's one thing I really hope sticks with you from this episode, it's this. You genuinely deserve love that makes you feel safe, respected, and truly complete. It's so important to remember that you're worthy of such a nurturing and fulfilling connection. If you're finding yourself tangled in a toxic relationship, please don't hesitate to reach out to someone who can offer support. Opening up might feel daunting at first, but having a listening ear can make all the difference. And when you're ready to take that next step, therapy can be an incredible journey towards healing, offering insights and inner peace you might not have thought possible. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Cruisin for Clarity with a Therapist. If you felt this episode was helpful or resonated with you in any way, I'd love for you to hit subscribe and maybe even leave a review. It helps keep the good vibes rolling. Until we chat again, take care of yourself. Remember, real love lifts you up and supports your growth. It never drags you down or diminishes your spirit.
Stay tuned in, I hope you're coming back. A place you can grow, vibe out and relax. Time to get clarity, time to find joy. Find your inner self, discover and explore. Ayy, yeah, cruising for clarity with a therapist. Woo, yeah.